Hello everyone, welcome to the class of HR skills for entrepreneurs. I assume that you are small business starters, CEOs or bosses. First of all, I show my respect for having the courage to start businesses because it's not an easy job being CEOs. You have actualized your ideas about your business. You are really persons of action. I would like to introduce myself to you. My name is Eugene Lee, and I am currently a professor at Handong Global University. This university is located in Pohang, Korea, and I am teaching in the Department of Management and Economics. I am very glad to meet you. In order to get a glance of the learning objectives, imagine yourselves to be the captain of a ship. Let's say that you have just begun a sailing journey, navigated by your company vision and heading to a certain destination. It is my wish and my goal that your journey be a wonderful one with the right crew members on board. With that in mind, after this lecture, you will be able to understand the essentials for human resource management in hiring, managing performance, compensating employees. Due to the time constraints, this lesson will address only the basic principles that you have to keep in mind when managing the employees of your company. First of all, I'd like to start the lecture emphasizing the importance of managing yourself first and foremost. Investors invest money because they believe in you and your idea for the business. You are the control tower. You are the most important asset to your company. What would be the essential elements in managing yourself? The most important asset you have to uphold is your integrity, the degree to which your belief, words, and actions are aligned. Your integrity will be the main charm that will attract employees and investors to your company. Then, identify your motivation driven from concrete vision and mission. Additionally, character building, your weakness and strengths. Next, establish principles for running your life and business based on values and ethics. Moreover, cultivate your core skills and knowledge. Identify the important skills, knowledge, and experiences you can bring to your business. Last but not least, take good care of your cognitive and physical energy and health. Now, let's move on to more specific topics. In the first section, we're going to talk about acquiring human resources through human resource planning, recruiting, and selection. Human resource planning is a process of determining the human resource needs of a company and ensuring that it has the right number of qualified people doing the right job at the right time. In other words, forecasting human resource demand and taking actions to ensure the supply internally and or externally. Planning includes envisioning the near future and aligning specific actions to prepare for the projected future. HR planning is the connecting business planning to people planning. Through HR planning, you can estimate what kinds of employees and how many of them you are going to need in the future, not based on mere intuition or a gut feeling of managers, but based on specific business goals, strategies, and its related tasks. Matching HR demand and supply can increase the effectiveness of your company. Also, it is not easy to fill the vacancies with the qualified people overnight. If you don't plan ahead on how to locate and hire people with special skills, there will probably be a lag time and productivity loss between the recognition of openings and the actual hiring. For HR planning, you should set up next period's business goals and strategy. Then you will know what tasks have to be carried out and the required skills and knowledge. Once you have that understanding, you need to learn to break it down into specific types of jobs and the number of employees you will have for each job. This is HR demand forecasting. After that, you should compare the future demand with your company's current HR supply. By then, you will know whether it'll be HR surplus or HR shortage in the coming years. As in the last slide, the result of HR forecasting will be either that you have HR shortage or HR surplus. You will talk about what actions can be taken for each situation. When you anticipate HR shortage, you can choose among the following. You can hire additional full-time employees. You can have the current employees work overtime. You can give additional work to a subcontractor. You can use contingent workers such as temporary workers or part-timers. On the other hand, if you project HR surplus, you can choose to relocate employees into other departments or units. Sometimes you may downgrade their positions, duties, and responsibilities. Or you may temporarily lay off employees. In terms of layoff, it is not caused by individual employees' poor performance. It is solely due to the company's projection on less work and poor business conditions. At certain occasions, you may recommend early retirement with greater retirement payment. One more alternative would be to share the pain and work. Rather than letting people out, you can temporarily reduce each employee's work hours until the business gets better. Recruiting is a process of seeking and attracting a pool of qualified candidates for job vacancies. Recruiting has a marketing concept. You let people know about the job openings and also about your company. When there is an opening, you give your current employees the opportunities to apply for the opening first by putting the job posting internally. This is called internal recruiting. Internal recruiting can increase employees' morale and motivation. As of external recruiting, you have to locate the best places or sites for advertising the job opening depending on the job's characteristics. The good side of external recruiting is a larger pool of qualified applicants and a greater chance to infuse new perspectives and diversity to your company. The job posting should be written based on job description and job specification. Job description is a statement of the tasks, duties, and responsibilities of a job. Job specification is a statement of the needed knowledge, skills, and abilities of the person who is to perform the job. You can document job description and job specification through a job analysis. When you determine the job requirements and qualifications, the criteria such as the level of education, years of experience should be validated by showing the correlation between the predicting criteria and the future performance in the job. The job posting better be as specific and realistic as possible, revealing both the positive and negative sides of the job and the company. Many people leave their company soon after they enter the company because their expectations about the company was way too high. This will save a lot of time and energy for both applicants and the company. By the time you are successfully done with the recruiting work, you will be getting application forms from applicants. Selection is to choose the most qualified applicants through the right selection procedure. These are the typical selection procedures. Selection procedures vary depending on the company and the job. First, it starts with application forms review. You can screen unqualified people based on job requirements and the application specification. Next, you can include tests that measure applicants' job-related abilities such as skills, knowledge, aptitudes, intelligence, etc. Interview is the most common selection method. Again, all the questions in the interview session should be job-related. Interviews can be individual interview or group interview. With structured interview, you have predetermined questions and ask the same set of questions to all applicants. It can have systemic coverage of areas to be questioned and is easier to compare answers of many applicants. Unstructured interview will make the interview more casual and at ease, but possible to go astray or become too subjective. Even unstructured interview questions have to be job-related. The last process before the final decision is checking the background, reference checking. You can do this through contacting the people the applicants have suggested for this purpose. Now, the final phase is making the hiring decision. You or the applicant's future manager will be the decision maker. One of the criteria of the right selection procedure is its job relatedness. Each step in the selection process and even each question in the application form and an interview should be job specific. Just like job requirements in job postings, the selection criteria should predict employees' future performance. You decide on which selection tools and criteria you will use depending on your company. You can focus on the applicant's current functional work skills and knowledge, or their potential competency such as attitudes, behaviors, and learning abilities. This is the end of part 1. Let's move on to the part 2.